We're coming upon the end of days. We're coming upon the end of the decade, the end of the year. I hope you all had a good Christmas and a better New Year's Eve, whoever's watching this late. End of 2019, I remember when I first started out at the beginning of this decade, actually 2011, I started out promoting my book, The Outcasters, which is on Amazon, on Barnes and Nobles. Just look up the author name and you can find it. So this is how I started my year going back to school, studying American Sign Language and promoting my book on the internet. So that was like the first half of the decade. Then later on, what I did was I opened my YouTube channel in 2013. So if you type in my username and then 2013, or I think the Mosaic, you can find like my early grainy, pixely, crusty videos on there. I was composing some music on my Casio PT-10. But more importantly, we're coming upon the end of the year. I'm reminiscing about the things I did, the mistakes I made, the mistakes I don't want to make anymore. And just like thinking about what should be done for myself now coming upon the new year and what I don't do. I've exercised more in the last decade than before. I changed my exercise regimen. I started to eat healthier foods, mostly organic foods, but they're expensive. So I kind of mix organic foods with processed foods to kind of save some money. So it's not a good compromise, but it's the only one I could practically have right now in my life. So we're thinking about what should be done or what shouldn't be done as we get older, as time goes by faster. What is it that we want to do for ourselves? We're only looking out for ourselves and not really anybody else. I spent my Christmases alone. I've spent my New Year's Eve and New Year's Day alone, and I prefer it this way. I don't want to be in bad company. I don't need it. I've got better things, my motherfucking time to do than to waste it on anything that doesn't need to be wasted time upon. So this is the Kingdom Come book, the final chapter of superheroes, the last great story of the superhero, the last age. So you think about the last things you're going to be doing for yourself before we start 2020, before we start anew, before we have new cultures, new technologies, legalizing cocaine for kids. Oops, sorry. Oops, spoiled the future. Oops, no. There's all kinds of weird. The future is not just Buck Rogers technology, right? There's all kinds of weird stuff. Underage kids getting legalized tattoos from their parents and stuff, and bringing it to school and saying, "Oh, that's okay." That's not. It's not just about rocket ships and jetpacks. It's all about the Blade Runner side of things, the fifth element. But enough about the future. We talk about doing away with the past, and what is the past that we need to do away with? Now here, as promised, is the fuck it list. Now the fuck it list, I came up with a little bit. Took me 5 minutes. So what it is, it's like the bucket list, but it's the fuck it list. And I remember Joey Diaz, and a lot of people say, you don't need to wait till New Year's to make a resolution. You do it now. But what you don't realize, in one way, he's wrong in that people are just fucking lazy. Aren't you almost? I mean, I know some of you are fucking lazy. You don't want to do it. You're like, and I'm the same way, right? So if we're lazy, we need a premise. We need an excuse. Let's say we make a New Year's resolution. But then you'll have people like Review Tech USA talk about how people go to the gym at Bally's Fitness, and then they're well-wishers, they're New Year's resoluters, and they just sit there and they're talking on their phone. So they pretend to exercise for the first week. The second week, they're just like kind of exercising. Third week, they're on their phone. And the fourth, they're just hanging around, just like burning their money that they paid for the membership. So they don't give a shit. They don't care about. They don't give a shit about you. They're sweat through the chairs and the leather seats. They don't care about exercise. So you have people who make New Year's resolutions, even as ourselves, even as loners, even as people who have that loneliness. We say we're going to do better for ourselves. We're going to stop smoking. We're going to stop drinking. We're going to exercise. We're going to have better jobs. But for now, I think the best thing to do is to say fuck it to things. Now, here we have number one is old tweets. Now, you may have old tweets of things you've said. Maybe they were racist tweets. Maybe they were gory tweets. Maybe they were inconvenient. Maybe they're like the James Gunn type of tweets, where you're like joking about kids or joking about, underage kids or some shit like that. Something creepy. Okay, so you have to go back through those tweets and delete them. Okay, get rid of the tweets, especially if you're starting new jobs. You get a new opportunity in life. Maybe you get a girlfriend or boyfriend for those who are gay. But since I am heterosexual, I'm mostly reaching out to the heterosexual crowd. You try to burn away those old tweets. Facebook posts, same deal. You make a Facebook post. You played political sides. You played your pop politician in you, and you say fuck that. I don't want to take Trump's side. I don't want to take Hillary's side or Tulsi's side or Warren's side or any Republicans or Greens or Independents. I'm just going to delete Facebook posts. You get those old political curmudgeons on Facebook posts. Okay, ex-girlfriend follow list number 3. Your ex-girlfriend, or not ex-girlfriend necessarily, but yeah, ex-girlfriend definitely on your follow list. Who you're following on social media, phone numbers. You burn them. Burn the fuck out of those things before the year ends. Okay. Ex-girls you are talking to that have been wasting your time, okay? There have been girls who will talk to me online, and they will waste my time by acting like they give a shit. Meanwhile, because they're like bisexual, they're into another girl, their best friend, they want to have sex with their best friend that they've known for 10, 15 years, but they act like they're into you. That's just jerking your chain. Not jerking your dick, but jerking your chain. I mean, if they jerk your dick, they just put a alligator clip on it, just shoot voltage in you. It's like, it's like, what the fuck? So ex-girl follow list, get rid of the girls that you're talking to that are not helping you. Unless these girls, let me tell you something. The most important females that are in your life are the ones that you see face to face, to your face. You are here, she is here. There's no social media. There's no texting. You are here and she is there. That is what matters. I will get into when she comes to you in a bit. Your job down here, practical. So your job, it'd be great if you got rid of your old job before the year ends, but most people probably can't. If you don't have children, some of you guys may be single dads. So you hold on to your job for as long as possible. But if you're a single dad that has good relations with coworkers and as professional or like just in the industry, if you can change jobs, do so. If you feel that your job is holding you back, it's not doing you any good, see if you can change jobs. Some people may need to do something more. You try to volunteer more, but your old job, your old volunteer, if it's beginning to wear on you, if it's beginning to hold you back, and if you're feeling like you're trapped, you get the fuck out of there. Don't even wait for the new year. Just start to get out of there now. But if you must, end something before the 2020, try to get rid of your old job. Try to fix that. Eating habits, like I said, what I'm doing with organic foods, less processed foods. Keebler Elves Sandy's cookies. The Chessmen cookies from Pepperidge Farm, Apple Orchards, Apple Farms. I think that's at Target. That's like the meat is not really processed. I think some of the Angus meat at Target's fresh. Cheeses, the Tillamook. Artisan bread is pretty good. But you want to change your eating habits a bit. There's like that black bag of potato chips that's actual good potatoes. They don't use as many chemicals. Some beef jerky, grass-fed beef jerky, stuff like that. So that's under blue is you let's see, your eating habits and your drinking, you replace or substitute. So if you're eating badly, if you're just eating fast, if you're eating soda or eating chips and drinking soda, you replace your eating habits. You find something. You replace your drinking. If you're a heavy drinker, you should go to AA. You should take the 12 steps. But if you can't do that, if you're not that social a person, then people who are true force loneliness don't feel like going to AA meetings, though you should. You try mixed drinks, try V8, try Pepsi, Jack and a Coke, but you will have to put less alcohol. But it takes a lot. I mean, I've talked to a couple of people who felt suicidal and they felt like drinking. I told them about my dad when he drank. He abused me and he abused my sisters. So I know that's not a direction. For this kind of thing, you have to talk to many people. Obviously, don't talk to people at the bar, but as far as drinking goes or smoking goes, if you can replace drinking with a less toxic substitute, brewed cola, brewed root beer, something that feels strong but isn't as strong, or maybe take a couple of aspirin and a soda and see how that feels. But the idea is to kind of replace the drinking and the eating with something healthier or something less intrusive on your body. Again, I'm not a doctor, so don't rely just on me, but all I can do is give you the starting domino effect and see how that goes. Material goods, sell, toss, or trade. So with material goods, you may have things you want to sell, trade, or I'm a hoarder, so I'm probably the last person to give this advice, but I like to hoard things, but I now buy less things. You may want to have some extra money. You may covet something somebody else owns, which is a breaking of a commandment, but I'm not religious, so who gives a shit? So you try to get rid of those material goods that you don't need. Your old DVDs, your old CDs, VHS tapes to people who collect, TV sets, cups, mugs, chairs, sofa, furniture. You can sell it, you can trade it, just toss it. Things you gotta throw away. So, material goods, you figure out what to throw away, what to trade, what to sell. And most importantly, I wanted to get to number 7 last, was the people who hold you back. Now, that goes back to a Tom Leykis radio show that he did. The people who hold you back, the people who tell you you're stupid or wrong for existing, for the things you want to do, okay? Unless you're committing crimes, you're about to kill yourself, you should not listen to anybody. You try to live a long, healthy life as long as possible. If you feel like getting into the porn industry, if you feel like selling marijuana in a marijuana store, if you feel like doing stunts, if you feel like joining the circus, if you feel like working with dangerous animals, anything that seems controversial but is legal, I mean, you should go for it. Don't let anybody tell you can't. I don't care if they're your mama, your papa, your auntie, your uncle, your cousin, your girlfriend. They're probably stupid. Just don't even talk to them about it. So old tweets, old social media posts, ex-girls that you talk to, changing jobs, figuring out how to replace your drinking and eating habits or smoking habits. Maybe you have to take the patch. Maybe you chew gum. Maybe you suck peppermint sticks instead of cigarette sticks or cigars. You find a way. If you plan to exercise, you obviously cannot make room for smoking in your life. That's going to hurt you. I remember a girl once told me, "Oh yeah, my uncle runs and jogs. All the smoke comes out of his lungs." Like, yeah, but there's still things that stay in his lungs. He's going to die from smoking too much and then running too much. That's going to kill him. So, and the people who hold you back and material goods, it's doing away with things you have that you don't really need anymore. And what stands the test of time forever, virtually forever for you, and what has aged? It's like Denny O'Neil, who wrote Batman stories, say, this was funny back then when I was a kid, but now that I'm old and I have a shrink and I go AA meetings and I have bills to pay, car bills to pay, medical insurance, and I've got some drinking issues. Ho ho, isn't this stuff still funny? That's the joke. And it's not a great joke, but it's what you learn as you get older what is funny and what is not. Pulling the football away from Charlie Brown as he kicks it was funny back then, but as you get older, you're like, well, this is fucked up. When she comes to you. So we, as a rule now for TFL, we don't go out of our way to be desperately getting into relationships. I've said before that every now and then you may want to go on a date, you may want to go and see someone, but I don't know what qualifies to be true forced loneliness. Because you're pretty much horny. You're a horny motherfucker when you're 16, 17, 18, 19. I would say it's okay to party and date different girls when you're a young man, but what qualifies you to be in this group? I would say maybe as you're getting older, you never got married, or maybe you're single. I would say single dads, probably. But, I don't even know if they're true forced loneliness. I think maybe if they don't have their kids. It's a gray area. I consider that because you have your kids and they fulfill your life. But some of you may never have gotten married. I think the true lonely people are the ones who never got married and never had kids. Or if they did get married, they're divorced, they dodged a bullet, maybe they paid some alimony, but now they're on their own, no kids to have. Or if you do have kids, she's got the kids and you don't have shit. But at some point, this is Little Miss Valentine, by the way, old drawing I made in 2002 as my ideal female. Thinking about, as we get older, we don't do as many things to get the girl's attention. We realize that we're not as desperate as we used to be. We try to find solace in other things. We go into our own matrix, being Neo, just finding our own virtual realities, whether it's in pornography or movies, books, video games, board games, or just hanging out with people you like, or even going to the bar, which goes back to drinking. So we never account that when she comes to you. Now, when does she come to you? And I think that the best way she comes to you is when you are in a field that you like to do. Let's say you volunteer, or let's say you are a teacher for a community teacher, not like a college. Let's say, let's give a more realistic, practical, attainable goal. Let's say you're a community center teacher. So like you teach students who are kids, but they are like in a park or like in a library. So you're a part-time teacher. You teach art for a couple of hours for people. You also teach writing or whatever, let's say, okay? So you may meet someone. You may meet a student who likes you. You may meet another volunteer who likes you. You may meet a coworker who likes you if you like your job. You may like your job. I mean, you may work in a mom and pop fast food business that's small business that is family owned, and you may meet someone in there because, maybe it's not as bad as working at McDonald's. Could be worse, right? But what do you do if the girl likes you? And let's make it even more difficult. She's actually attractive. May not be as attractive as this, but she's still attractive. Like, what do you do? How do you deal with that? Do you say no? I think that if you're attracted to her, you take it slow. Now, it's hard to explain this to younger people because younger people can think of a lot of things they want to do before they turn 30. But if you're getting close to 30 and you're at that time where you're trying to figure yourself out, you take it slow, okay? Especially if she's going to run games with you, because she could run games with you. You don't know everything about her. You don't know what she's going to do. You don't know how she's going to do it. I haven't had a situation where yet where if someone meets me and she likes me, that she is exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm still skeptical about that. But if I do, I would want to take that slow, and I would want to be very careful about what kind of person she may be and what kind of person what expectations she has. I don't want marriage. And even if I do want marriage, it's got to be after too many years spending with her and her understanding my feelings and what my expectations are. I also have to deal with the fact that my sisters got married and divorced. Look how they turned out. My aunt, my uncle, my parents, physical abuse, verbal abuse, mental abuse. I don't want to go through that with someone else. I went through that a few times. One girl slept with her male cousin. Another one was just trailer trash. So, and all that was years ago before the iPhone ever came out. The iPhone 1, when we were still on PCs to go on the internet and there were no tablets yet. So that's all I could really say concerning that. So take your time. Don't be nervous. If you like her, if you're physically attracted to her and she's sweet on you, think of it like chess. Don't think of it as jumping into bed with her yet, but think of it like chess. Because you may like her more than just a fling, especially if you're going to be working with her too. Now, there are those Me Too things, but here's the thing. We're always going to meet. I mean, we're always going to meet someone. You know what I mean? It's either one way or the other. I mean, even in a bar, it's not safe anymore. No matter what Tom Lake has told you in the past, women now have ways to wink at the bartender and give code for this guy's going to do something terrible to me. You're not safe anywhere, whether it's the bars or the workplace. So let her come to you and play the game of chess very carefully when talking to her. That's all I can tell you. This is all got to be done very carefully these days. It's hard to explain this to younger people, but older people maybe not. So part 2 of Groundhog Day was the relationship to New Year's. Simply that at the end of this movie, of course, Phil realizes the right things he had to do to get the girl at the end and starting anew. It's the sort of, when you realize after the second time he spends the night with, I keep forgetting her name. I forget. It's the producer. Why am I forgetting these characters' names? I don't know. Rita. So after the night he spends with Rita the second time, it's the first time he was trying to, be like Harvey Weinstein and make moves on her. This time he is playing cards with her, and she understands his problem. And then the third time, she bought him, she owned him for the night, I guess. Sort of like that whole thing is like, as long as it's legal, I guess the mayor says. But he figured himself out. February 3rd began, and so he began his life anew. So it may not be with a female, unfortunately, for most of us. But, at least this way, you can start anew, doing away with the old things, making better decisions. The volunteering I'm doing is a better decision than I've ever made. So it's like with Phil Connors, I'm making my own better decisions, in my life. So, I think when we get to Groundhog Day, I'll do some commentary on select scenes, post them up on YouTube. I'll probably edit it so that copyright, so I can, legally put some clips up, but I'll figure that all out. So I wanted to say all of you happy 2020. It's going to be a very hectic time. I have to figure out what new things I can do, what new opportunities arise. It's going to be trying for me. I'm watching my family members closely in that way to see, what happens for me next. I may move out of here in the next few years. I may not. But nobody controls me. And that's the thing whether you have a girlfriend, no one controls you. So it's okay to be alone. It's okay to be with someone, but do what is true to you. Happy New Year, and you are in control of your own destiny. Until next time.